Hi guys, and welcome to Linux for Beginners. This video is Command Line Basics Part 2, and this is basically the follow-up to the original Command Line Basics video where we covered really the simplest stuff, CD, ls, rm, all that sort of stuff that you need to know when navigating the command line. If you've got any questions about those, feel free to check out that video and hopefully get a better understanding of those. And this one is a little bit more advanced, but we're still not going any too heavy into the command line stuff. But of course, it's obviously still for beginners by beginners, as I'm still a bit of a noob to this, so if I've missed anything in this video, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, let's get started. So the first command we're looking at here is sudo. Now sudo is basically the command that allows you to elevate your privileges when doing other commands or other tasks. Sudo is often used for installing programs, so you might do sudo apt-get install, I don't know, Chromium or whatever, right? So you do sudo apt-get install so that you're giving the apt-get command elevated permissions to actually do stuff to your system. If you were to just run apt-get install, it wouldn't run because it doesn't have the elevated permissions it needs. Sudo, again, will ask you for your passwords, so there's actually another way to do it, which is SUDO SU, or basically running as the super user. So if I put in my password for the system, then I'm now running as Linux PC instead of as TechteamGB or TTGB at Linux PC. So I'm running as the root user. This means that you're basically completely elevated above your own user account, and if you want to install programs or really change anything to do with the operating system, the kernel, anything else, you will need to either run sudo or sudo su to be able to elevate those permissions. So the next command we want to do here is alias. Alias lets you replace commands or basically add shortcuts to commands. So if you have, say, let's say that you do ls-a a lot, which allows you to see all the dot files or the sort of hidden files that you may not normally be able to see. Let's say that you do that command a lot and you actually just want to be able to type L and have it do that. Then in this case you would do alias and then L, the command that you want to be able to run, equals with the sort of quotation marks ls-a, and that should now, when you do L, it will now do ls-a instead of the thing that it normally does for L. And you can do that for any command. So if you wanted to have C as cat, obviously it's command C doesn't currently work, so you would do alias C equals cat, and then you can now do C and have stuff print out as you type it in, and obviously Control D to escape that. So another one you might want to know is ifconfig. This is the same as ipconfig on Windows, and basically it allows you to see your Ethernet and or Wi-Fi connectivity status and the general settings surrounding it. So in this case you have the top one, which is the actual Ethernet, has the hardware ID or the MAC address there, as well as the current IP address, so IPv4 IP address, so 192.168.1.89 for my current network, and the gateway address of my router's address is 192.168.1.255 with obviously the standard 255.255.255.0 subnet mask. You also have a local loopback, which allows you to go to 127.0.0.1 and have it actually ping back to the system. So if you're running Apache and you're running a web server, you can actually go to localhost or go to 127.0.0.1 and have it actually come up. So the next one I want to cover here is actually Wget. This is the command that allows you to download files from the internet using command line. Now you do have to have a direct link to the file, so do bear that in mind. This is really useful if you're installing programs or if you're just trying to download single files, especially that you know where they are already. So in this case, just a really simple way to do it is I'm pasting a link to my GitHub, which has the PresentMon launcher installer. This is very much just a case of I'm just downloading it for the sake of downloading it, as it's an exe and it uses event tracing for Windows, so wouldn't work, but in this case it's actually now downloaded the file and saved likely to whatever folder I'm currently in. So that is already in the folder, as you can see just here. and it has downloaded it for you. It obviously downloaded it as quick as it possibly could, which is rather nice, and means that if you do need to download or install anything and you know where the file or the repository or anything else is, you can use Wget to grab it. So the next one I want to cover here is DD. This is the data duplicator and allows you to basically, well, duplicate data. Now you can use it in fairly simple ways of just copying files from one place to another, but you can also do a pretty awesome thing of backing up your system, backing up full drives and stuff like that, which is actually really nice. So for example, you would need to use sudo for this, but you can do sudo dd, and the way that you go about running the command is you do dd and then if equals the source of the files that you want to use. So I might do dev sda, I think it's sda2, and then you do of equals and then the target that you want to then put the copy to. So you might do slash home backup.img. So you can actually do conversions as well. It does have to be simple conversions, so you can't use this for actually converting MP4 to MP3 or something like that. Like it's simple conversions in terms of folders into disk images or stuff like that, rather than actually more complicated things. So this is now in theory making a copy of SDA2 and turning it into a backup.img, and you can actually reverse it as well. So if you want to completely overwrite everything in SDA2 into backup.image or backup.image into SDA2, you can do that as well. This is actually pretty awesome and a very useful tool. The next command that I want to at very least clarify is SH. So SH basically allows you to run the Bourne shell. This is a shell that was developed in I think 1977. It's fairly old, is named after someone named Bourne, and actually I believe Bash is the Born Again shell, which people in Linux just love their funny names. It's brilliant. But either way, the point is that the Bourne shell allows you to do slightly different things and run things in a slightly different way and do things that are a little bit more low level when it comes to the actual operating system, the kernel and that sort of stuff. So just bear that one in mind. Basically, if you want to know more, then you can do man, which is actually another command which allows you to see the manuals for certain commands. So you can do man sh and see all of the just everything to do with the sh command, and this is the full manual for the sh command, or the sh shell, Bourne shell, that allows you to show what functions, show what different options you can have up the top, including -c if you want to actually run commands or read commands, and there's a whole lot of information in here available, so do check it out. As I mentioned, one of the awesome commands that you can actually run is man. This is access to the manuals page. Now, just for the sake of beautiful irony, I'm going to run the manual for the manual command. This allows you to see all of the different options, all of the different connotations, examples for displaying, for example, the manual for ls or the manual for alias, and you can do different sort of options for it as well, which is very nice. You have a full overview in here. As I said, the full options for what you can do, general and specific options are available, and it depends on what command that you're running will then mean what sort of information is in here. But by default, the people who write the commands actually write a full manual page for it. So there's a lot of information available in here. As you can see, if you just want to exit, you just press Q and it disappears at all. So for example, if you wanted to see the manual page for ls, you just do man ls, and you can see all of the options available for ls, including different information, copyright if it needs to be in there, and obviously more information about the manual itself. Again, you can have pretty much any command that you can run in the command line has a thing, except for cd. Strangely, is I suppose this is just simple enough. You literally just do cd and that's about it. But I'm sure there is a manual page for rm. Yeah, there you go. There's a full manual page for RM, or really anything else you can think of. There's likely a manual page for it. Top is another command that I want to talk about here, and this basically acts like a task manager from Windows. It allows you to see all of the processes that are currently running on the CPU and all of the different users, all the different process IDs, the memory and CPU amounts, and it is basically acting like a task manager at the moment, currently cycling through the most used CPU and memory proportions. Obviously, as you can see, OBS is using a decent amount of the CPU to record this, but there's plenty of other things that are running in the background, so this is quite cool. Now you can use Q to quit out of this, but if you press Ctrl O, you can actually add extra filters. So for example, if you wanted to add, sort of sort it by CPU, you can do P. If you want to basically sort it by a lot of things, then you can look at -H. Which will show you the help, so you can see all of the different commands and options and filters that you can add. There's a lot of different stuff, including changing the colors of the tasks to see different users, what different sort of processes, and also you can sort by process ID using -U, or you can search by .user by -U, sorry, and you can also use K to kill certain processes if you want to completely remove them, or if there's something that is causing you to have a bit of a bug, then you can use top and then K to kill that process, which is actually pretty nice. So the last command that I want to talk about here is actually pipes. It is more of a tool of the command line than a command itself, but it allows you to funnel commands into each other, and it's the character that is normally shift backslash, that is at least on UK layout keyboards, just above the Windows key and just to the right of the left shift key. So it's actually a really useful command or useful tool in the command line. So as I said, it allows you to funnel commands into each other. So say you wanted to run dmessage, which allows you to see all of the entries in the sort of log when Linux was starting up, but dmessage prints out a lot of stuff by default, so you might want to pass it into the less command as well, so that you can actually see just the last few commands, last few things that were available here. Perhaps you also, as you can see, there's still a lot of stuff, but say you want to see, I don't know, maybe you want to sort those entries not by case either, so you might do dmessage with then a pipe and then sort -F and then another pipe into less as well. So now you have them fully sorted regardless of case, and it's fairly easy to see, nice and easy to read, and hopefully is a little bit more useful for you rather than just reading out dmessage, which is yeah, just incredibly long and a lot of stuff there. So hopefully that is a very useful thing. I do recommend taking a look at some of the other ways that you can use this, as it is a very useful tool, as well as stuff like and if you just want to run two commands at the same time, back to back kind of thing, that is also a very useful one. But pipes allow you to pass stuff into each other, or pass commands and pass results into each other, so that can be very useful. So I hope that those commands are useful for you and this video was easy enough to understand. If you've got any questions, or if I've missed any commands that you think I should have included, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, especially if I've missed anything or if I got anything wrong, then please do let me know down there as well, as this still is Linux for beginners by beginners. As I said, I'm still a complete noob to this. So yeah, otherwise I want to make it clear that this is the last Linux for beginners video for a couple of weeks. I'm going to Computex, which is awesome, and I'll be doing plenty of videos from there, as well as I want to fully understand virtual machines and IO-MMU pass-through before I do my next video on basically how to game on Linux using a Windows VM. It's a bit of a complicated topic and I want to fully understand it before I can really kind of condense it down into a more simplified guide that you can actually follow quite easily. So hopefully that's understandable for you. If you want to check out the rest of the series, I'll leave some links over here, as well as some other videos, and the subscribe button somewhere over here as well. And otherwise, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to let me know, and of course if this is the first video you've seen, feel free to subscribe, and otherwise we'll see you all in the next one.